And you're welcome to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. Here we are again once more. Well, if it doesn't work, it won't work for anybody else. But hey, we are going to have fun today. It's not raining in Toronto, but I know it's raining out west where Ron is. But then, notwithstanding that, folks, we are going to have a very special guest called REIINN. So she's going to tell us what REIINN is all about. And well, I'll figure it out and then, dump her over to Ron to explain and to give us an insight into what REIINN is all about. Ron, how are you doing?
Fine, TyB. How are you?
Who wants to know? I'm good.
I can tell you all about REIINN. We have some right now on the West Coast. Oh, you mean the guest, REIINN?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to interviewing her and talking to her. I shouldn't call it interview. I don't like that kind of term. I'm looking forward to chatting with her and having a conversation because she does have a very interesting sound. I would say as I'm listening to some of her songs, I've heard they sound sort of like some of the artists that I've worked with or know. So, I mean, that's not saying she's not unique. Absolutely, everybody is unique. So it'd be interesting to see, what approach she's taking. And I love it when we have an Afrobeat woman on the show because that's not as common as you see, as we all know, as we hear and see from men. That's nothing against anybody. That's just saying this is an observation. So.
Yeah, it feels like sound-wise, I'm telling you, she is awesome. I love the track in and out, and she reminds me of a couple of young ladies who are in that kind of a genre who have come through here. And you know what? I think we're going to have a very great conversation with her because a lot of the new artists are shying away. I don't know whether it's the right word. Getting away from the Afro beats that we have come to know and, cutting some new paths for themselves. And I think she fits into that category. And it will be interesting to see and have a conversation with her as to how she came about, choosing that genre. Because if you come from Nigeria and you tell anybody that you are an artist, everybody expects you to be an Afrobeats musician, but her sound is quite different. And I love that because I like diversity in terms of sounds and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a very great conversation when she joins us.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice when people approach things a little bit differently than everyone else. That will hopefully get you on the scale of being noticed prior to hopefully someone who sounds like everyone else. And it's really tough in these times today to have your own unique sound. So I'm interested in knowing how she approached this in terms of trying to get a sound that was, we'll call it her sound, because it's just everybody to be unique. People have to be able to put you on and hear you and go, I know who that is right away. For instance, as an example, whenever I hear an icon, I call him an icon, and Michael McDonald sing, I know it's Michael McDonald. He just has this voice. He has this rasp in his voice that says to me every time, that's Michael. Or when I hear Stevie Wonder playing not only his voice, but when I hear him play harmonica, I just know it's Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder has a sound all his own on that harmonica. So, and they developed this over many years. So it should be interesting to see how she has and how long she's been working on getting this sound of hers that she has, because I've heard many people. I actually heard a really good one from a fellow named Rick Beto, who was a really good world-class producer. He has probably, I think he said he has over 2,000 videos on YouTube. And he was talking about how most people who are making it today are well over 30. And it's because they're getting the experience. He said, yes, Billie Eilish is only 23, but of all the people that are getting the most listens on Spotify right now are over 30. So it's an interesting observation he was making, and he had good justice. He picked each name, and then he told the age of each one. and most of them were, almost all of them were over 30. A few of them were close to 30, but the youngest I think he had was 23 with Billie Eilish, who were the top ones listened to. I think there was somebody that Taylor Swift, for instance, just turned 35, or she's 35 this year. So she's not I'll say a young artist. So I'm always interested in knowing how people develop their sounds, especially if they're a young artist. So
yeah,
that's my take on sort of how you get, how do you do it?
see, one thing that I think I'm also looking at it is that a lot of people, a lot of artists are also shying away. They are testing or they are trying to taste different sounds. They are trying to merge a lot of sounds, because right now there's so many hitherto unknown kinds of music that are getting the prominence that other genres of music have, been exposed to the world, like compa music, compa and zouk. They were there, but now they are growing so big, and you can see so many different artists trying to tinker with, the collabs and all those kind of stuff. And that is so great, because no man or no woman is an island. But by the way, before we continue with it, I would like to take this opportunity to wish every mother, every girl, every woman around the globe a happy Mother's Day. Without you, hey, men will be lost. Well, that's my personal opinion, because you guide us. You are the pilots, you are the drivers, you are the people behind the steering wheel who direct us, whether we like it or not. Sometimes we may have disagreements, and sometimes a lot of things happen, and you know what? Our fingers are not the same. But at the end of the day, we wish you a happy Mother's Day. Ron?
Yes, I can agree. Mother's Day is officially tomorrow, Sunday. So yes, I agree completely. How can I argue with that? It's interesting. I will tell a story personally about myself. My mom passed away about 6 years ago, unfortunately. However, she had a twin sister who has a twin sister, and she's still alive today. And that twin sister, her name's Karen, is just like my aunt. She's my aunt, but she's just like a mom too. So I guess I lost my mom, but still it's nice having that other very close partner. They lived only about a block away from each other. And I can still go see her like I did the other day. And it's just almost like mom, but it's not quite the same. Of course, they're different people. But that's one of the joys that I fortunately have. And truly, mothers can't be thanked enough. And one day of the year is not just what we should be doing. You should be thanking your mother every day, because they are an important part of your life.
Very well said. Yes, and I couldn't agree with you more. We take things for granted, but at the end of the day, you know what? We had to swim in their bellies for 9 months. So we have to be very appreciative of that. They didn't dump us. They went through pain and agony, and then did what they had to do for us. Yes, and then back to the program. Around like I was saying, it's very refreshing to see new genres of music coming up on the scene, and then young people are trying as much as possible some young people not to follow the leader, as I would say, not to follow the leader and say, okay, that person did this, so I'm going to do that. They are tinkering around certain new forms of music, and then I think that bites well for the industry. Your take on it, please.
I would say that it's nice when people are taking a different route. I think this is what you're getting at, and to doing something different than others. I don't know how they're doing it all the time. I am glad to see artists like the one that hopefully we get today, who is doing something different. I was listening to her sound. I was going, this is very good. This is cool. I like this. What I liked about it more than anything was the clarity of the song.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed something that didn't sound like as much that it was produced. And hey, this is just my take on it. Didn't sound like it was produced all on a laptop. Now it may have been. It doesn't matter. But it sounded like it was more done in a studio. So I'm interested in knowing if that's the case, if it was done in a professional studio, because that can help to bring up your sound. But I also, I think what people are going to eventually get tired of, to me it is, but maybe I could be like totally off here. It's that tick, 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 tick that we hear so often in Afrobeats that I think that sound is going to wear on people after a while. I still think we're always going to love that bang, bang on 2 and 4. Afrobeat hits before 2 and after 4 sometimes, or it just slightly before 4. So nothing is really easy to snap a finger to. And I don't know if that's always going to be the easiest thing for people to catch on to. And this woman has a different sound. I will say, I can't put my finger on saying it sounds like anyone. But then, you know, it's like, what's her name that did the song Water? I won't say Tyla. Tyla has a very good sound as well.
Yes. Yes.
However, since Water, I don't think anything else has come out that's really big. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know she's had some videos, but nothing that really went to boom. It's kind of like it went way up and then way down. So I don't know. No, it's interesting. I'd like to know how she's going to keep her sound. That would be my
yes, yes. She reminds me of the song reminds me of Tracy Gray. We had Tracy.
Yes, yes.
And then it gives me that pleasure to be talking to them, to be looking at them from the point of view that, you know what, Afrobeat is Afrobeat. There's no question about Afrobeat. Yeah. Nobody can say anything about it. But I think the moment somebody says, I'm from, say, Ghana or I'm from Nigeria, everybody, you know, I'm an artist. So do you do Afrobeats? That's the mindset. But I think things are gradually changing. And I think it's changing for the best, because I would say, this is my personal point of view as an artist and as somebody who has the ear for music, that the music for Afrobeats is so saturated. Everybody is doing the same thing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody wants to be Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Petraa, what have you. But they have cut the niche for themselves. So you have to be you. You see that you do your own stuff, or you don't say that, oh, I want to be like Burna Boy, because if you do that, if you throw your heart into it, it's like the crabs, you know, all over themselves in a bucket. But I think it's not something that as artists they should be looking at. But all the same, I think it's a very great path that we are looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I can't disagree with anything you said there, though I'd like to. However, I agree that there's a certain sound of people that, you know, it is an oversaturated market for sure. I think that people have heard the best of the best, and I just think if you're trying to get up above that, then that's going to be a tough call. If you're trying to get above Wizkid or Davido or whatever, you know, and Burna Boy, any of those, I just think you're in a tough you're on a tough road to be totally unique and different. What are you doing that's different? I think the one thing that artists I could probably hear or would like to hear more of is I'd like to hear, and there are some that do this, real musicians playing in them rather than samples. We hear what are called samples lots in Afrobeat, because it's certainly cheaper than hiring a band or having a band or trying to keep a band together. And so I think, to me, I like the ones where it sounds like, yeah, that's a real musician. I can tell that it's real because it has something to it that says to me, well, there's an easy one. Here's an easy one that I've listened to. I listened to a song a while ago, and I was listening to it and I heard it lots, but then I heard one thing happening in it. I heard the guitarist who was going A, and then he went up to B, and then he went up to C sharp minor, and he went back to G sharp. And I thought, this is interesting. These are all bar chords, and I can tell because I could hear the sliding of the guitar. And I knew that and you don't hear this as much in sampled music. And I could tell that there's actually a real guitar player playing it, just the way it went. I mentioned this to my wife Lisa a while back, and she goes, I can't even listen to that song anymore without hearing that streaking of the guitar. A guitar makes a natural sound when doing bar chords, where it actually just moves and you hear it go whit, 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 whit. And that to me said, hey, that's a guitar player. That's somebody that's playing it. That's not a sampled or a keyboard part. And also, I tend to hear too much music from people where I'm just hearing keyboards. A friend, Tracy, sent me a playlist the other day. She says, what do you think of this? And I said, well, it's okay. I mean, I'm glad I was on a walk, otherwise I would have fallen asleep. Because it was more sort of Afro-pop stuff, and I actually called it Afro-love, because every single song was about love. And that's not bad, but every single song I thought had love, 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 love. And I had to put on a song by a guy named, what's his name? Teddy Swims. I had to put on The Door just to put on something different, sort of. And I thought, okay, at least I'm not feel like every single song is love me, baby, oh, baby, we love each other. I got really tired of that same theme over and over. And Tracy said, so I guess you're not partial to this. And I said, no. And also I mentioned to her, I think only one song of probably the 30 or so I heard had actually a guitar in it. I love hearing guitar, because that says to me, it's really hard to fake a good guitarist.
Yeah.
You can't. So I could go on about this, but yeah.
No, go ahead. Because it's very interesting, because you're sharing your experiences with a lot of new listeners and new artists, and who want to just go through it and say, I want to do this. Me personally, majority of the time, 99% of the time when I'm in the studio, it's more of live recording, live drummers, live guitarists, everything, because I believe in that as opposed to what I can do. I quite remember I was doing a track, I was recording a track, and what I wanted, we wanted to sample the horns. I love writing horns, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what came out wasn't what I was expecting. I know it wasn't me. So I had some live hornsmen to come and do what I wanted to do. So if we are experimenting with sounds and stuff like that, I think it depends on the artist. It depends on what the artist's focus and mission is all about. I cannot argue about that. But then if you want to focus on something that this is exactly what I want, don't just, like you always say, rightly that it is the artist who should control, not the engineer. It shouldn't be the engineer who should always control. Okay, this is what I wanted to do, or this is what I want to do. But because the person is not in your brain, or the producer, the person is not in your brain. And sometimes most artists in the studio sell their souls to producers to do what the producers want to do. But in the end, they may not, it might not have been what they wanted to do themselves. But I mean, the end result is the green paper, the dollar, the money. It's what people go, well, if he's going to do that, why don't I fall for that? So they compromise. With me, I don't compromise. I rather collab with my producer. I've had the same producer for close to about 25 years. We've never argued before. We've never cursed each other before. I say, I have this idea. He has, okay, yeah, sure. I also have this idea. And then it has always worked for me. So like anything that I bring out, I know it has been thought through, because I don't rush to do stuff. I have something that is in the pipeline that has been written for over 5 years. Not that I don't want to release it, but I have gotten to the point where I have listened to, I've done the first mix, second, third, and I'm still not satisfied, because that's not the intent and purpose of it. So I'm still working on it. And I'm not saying that I'm a perfectionist, but at the end of the day, that is what I want to do. So tinkering with sounds and stuff like that is something that I think we have to accept the fact that it's a way of the future. Because if you can't beat them, you join them, or you ship out. Your thoughts about it, please.
Yeah, I wish I could find a really good producer as well. They are hard to find. And then if you find a really good one, then I know you end up going to have to pay for it. So I wish I could get on a team with somebody who was a producer and that wasn't always coming out of my pocket. Because I know that Tracy, for instance, Tracy Gray, has a bunch of songs, and I would like to see a really good producer. I can produce them. I can mix and master them, get them ready all, and send them all out. I've done lots of them online. I've sent lots of them to social media, but finding a good producer, you're lucky if you've been able to keep the same guy. I think it's Ozzy you were saying. And you're fortunate to have somebody like that. However, in regard to what you were saying about horns, Matt, if you've ever listened to the Brecker Brothers, Matt, that is a horn section. That is just a killer horn section. Jeff Berlin, when he was on, he was talking about how he has worked with them. And right then, I just thought, holy. Now, if you want to hear a great horn section, just listen to the Brecker Brothers. Now, those are humans playing, and they play so tight together. They are just like, as tight as it gets. And I would say that if you are using horns on a keyboard, you're not going to get the same things. Like there's things like fall-offs that they do, and where they go boom, and you hear them just go boom, and they have this or you can call them drops. They're not drops because people will mix that up with what is known as a song as a drop. But I call them fall-offs. That's what they're known as when we print them out in sheet music. It's a fall-off. You go, and just as I explained, and having a real horn section, if you put that on the written sheet music and you put a fall-off in there, they'll just put the fall-off in and they'll just be so together on it. Horns and a keyboard, it's really hard to do that because you play a keyboard and you have dials for this. You have a modulation, a pitch dial on your keyboard. Most keyboards do now today. And you can take them and make them sort of fall off, but they don't sound natural. So there's nothing like, I would say, a real person playing there that is in there. And granted, not everybody can afford that. I know that I had a producer from Nashville call me up one time and said, I love your songs. You've got great songs. And it would all cost about $1,800 US a song because I have to hire some people to come in and play the songs. And I thought, buddy, I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend $1,800 US on a song. Yeah, that's about $3,000 a song per song because I have to hire people to come in and play the songs. And I thought, well, you can hire me, just bring me down there and I'll play most of them. However, having a real drummer in the studio, there's nothing like it. Real drummer, you get a good drummer in there. I mean, I can name off so many. I can name off probably 5 right now. Simply easy. The guys like the Stuart Copelands who have a sound all their own. Who was the guy, the drummer that played for years and years, and maybe still does with the Police. He's got such a cool reggae sound as well. He was so highly influenced by reggae, and he's got a sound all his own. I mean, Safshu Moffat, he's one of those drummers. He played for Michael Jackson for years and years and years. I'd go on and on about drummers because drummers are a rarity. Finding really good ones. If you're a really good drummer and you're working with a really good top-notch drummer, there is nothing like it. I've had the privilege of working with award-winning drummers, and man, there's usually all of them are the ones who deserve to be in the award-winning box because they are smoking hot. It's the feel. That's what it is. The feel that I just love of really good drummers. So that's my take on musicians. I could keep going about it. No.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a healthy discussion, but before you also continue, I would like to. Some of the listeners are asking where Petraa is. Petraa will be joining us next week. Petraa is doing some stuff, and she'll be joining us next week. So I know you miss Petraa, but folks, the show is not complete without Petraa. Petraa, wherever you are, we wish you all the best, and health and wellness and everything. We miss you, right here.
Absolutely.
Yes. And folks, you are listening to our Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio, and those of you watching us from around every corner of the globe, hey, we are glad you are here. We are waiting for our special guest to be joining with us, but in the meantime, we are discussing the music industry as it may pertain to so many different topics. There are so many of them, Ron. AI comes. AI, my favorite side, comes into into question. You and I agree on so many things, as well as Petraa, about AI and the future of the music industry. Do you have anything to drop so that we may be able to discuss that?
Well, I tell you, I've heard a number of AI songs, and I almost lost, I'd say, hope of writing songs after hearing some AI songs. Not because they were that good or I felt they were better than what I could probably do. That's not a conceived thing. I just worry about how good they're going to get. That's what I worry about most. If right now, to me, they're okay. I was learning one the other day, and I go, okay, this is the right key. They're putting in all the right chords. That's all working. And the drummer's it. But there was one spot in the song where I could have tapped my foot and everything went, the beat was lost. And I picked it up because I was playing. I'm sort of kind of thinking, okay, the beat isn't on. This is where the beat should have happened, and it came in early. I thought, this doesn't make sense. So but I think you're going to find, if you get people starting to use AI to record music, I'm afraid that the recording artists of today, I'm thinking you're going to have do something really unique to be competing with that, because I think there's going to be a day where people are going to go, can you write me a song? I'll just use Petraa as an example. Write me Petraa songs here. I'd like to have 30 Petraa songs with her voice only, please. Not only, but I'd like her voice. I'll type this in. And I would like them all to be reggae songs, because that's what Petraa is good about. And then I want to make another playlist, and I'm going to make it Petraa's voice, but I'd like it to be a punk rock playlist. So can I have Petraa's voice now on punk rock? So that's how far we are, or we can do that almost today. And what I worry about then is the artists like Petraa, any artist whose voices are going to get ripped off. Because how do you control it and say, sure, it should be illegal. It should, but how do you enforce it? And enforce it. And then what do you do? How do you pay? Or what happens in a court session if it makes it to court? Because you've got to have money to be in the courtroom. So it's worrisome to me, because I'm worried about the people that write. I see so many places on different social media where people are writing songs like, hey, they have this great song, and all it takes is for somebody to rip it off and rip their voice off. I had a dream about this last night. It's kind of weird too. And somebody I could sing the notes, and the song, they just write the song for me. It would all have my voice sounding way better than it really does. And so I get worried about this. I don't lose sleep about it. I was dreaming, so I was fast asleep. However, I get concerned for the artists of today who are writing music, and what's going to prevent people from stealing your voice, especially the voice. That is the thing that I get concerned about the most, because to me, that separates the Petraas from the Bob Marleys, from the Justin Biebers, from anybody. It's the voice. You can put music on, and you may not ever know who the artists are, but as soon as they start singing, that's when we know. So there's my concern, is probably for the singers the most.
Yeah, it's very scary, because the way, and we haven't scratched the surface yet. So are artists extinct?
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm looking at, because if somebody can go and write something, and you don't know whether it's a human being, because these days you can never trust anything that you see. You can never trust. Yesterday I saw something that I don't know whether you saw, about this guy who was killed, and then there was an AI created person about him addressing his killer just on TV, and it looked like the guy addressing his killer from the grave, addressing him like, why did you do this, blah 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 blah, all this kind of stuff. So it makes you wonder as to, even right now, I just can be out there, by my car, and I can use AI to create myself in on a private jet. So where are we going to draw the line to see which is fake and which is real, and which is in terms of the music industry? So are we going to trust the song that we are hearing or listening to on air to, is it going to be an era or a decade, or if I can put it mildly, where we'll be second guessing who the artist is? Are we going to trust the music that we are listening to? Is it the person that really sang it? Is it where we are heading to, right now, in terms of our industry? It looks scary for me. And like we've been saying that you just have to be able to go out there to perform so that people will believe, I can touch you. That's you. Who sang it? As opposed to get second guessing. Is that Ron song? Did Ron sing this song? No, it sounds like Ron. And then you call Ron and says, no, that's not me. Because I'm going to be robbing your popularity on mine to make it, to build one for me, which should be the other way around. Or it shouldn't be anything at all. You have to charge your own cost in the business, in the industry. So where are we heading to? Because it's so scary, Ron.
Yeah, I agree. How come somebody couldn't record your voice right now, TyB, and then use it on a song? And then say, hey, great, I've just recorded TyB in the show. It's got some emotions happening in this, so let's stick them into a song and let's use his voice today. So to me, that's where I get worried. I think what it does, the good side, if there's any good side in this, I think Jeff was bringing this up too, is that, and I agree, and it's completely true, is that what is never going to disappear is the live playing artist. And if you are not a live performing artist, where are you going to? This is relevant whether you worried about AI or not. But where's the live artist that we want to see on stage? Because humans, I'm hoping, will always want to see humans on stage, always. And if you can't perform your song live, I know Tracy was telling me about a gig she did, and she had to go up stage and perform it. And I think, great, good, that's a good experience. However, the only thing that I get concerned about is artists that go up there. We've talked about this too before, and that is the artists that go up there with a DJ, and it's all canned music that they're playing with. And then I'm not sure who's doing the harmonies, if the harmonies were included with the DJ, or where the backup singers came from. And those artists who perform their backup vocals, and then they have to have somebody come in, which is very common. They have to have somebody else on stage. Well, are you going to use just the master and just take the lead vocals off and sing the lead vocals? This is what Tracy May did on Jimmy Fallon's show. I believe it was Jimmy Fallon she was on. And I just think, okay, that's great. She can not lip sync. She was not lip syncing. Don't ever lip sync. That'll catch you every time. You get caught every time almost. I get concerned that kind of thing happens. However, I think I'm hoping we're always going to want to do is see playing musicians in live show. I know we have a huge festival here in town every year, and I love seeing the artists on stage performing. I know where everything's coming from. It's all coming off of the people, off the stages from the people performing. And I think that's the one thing that is going to will continue to happen forever in your TyB and hopefully my lifetime too, that all we ever get to, we are going to still want to see people live on stage. And I don't think that's going to ever take away AI. You will never be able to replace me on stage. And if they start putting, 3D shapes or I don't even think it's 4D now, on stage for me, I think that just won't do it for people, because there's not the interaction. There's not the impromptu that a live performance adds. Live performance has a lot of improv happening, because depending what the audience is doing and what they're like is how you're going to interact with them. So as you as a performing artist, as a recording artist, you better be a performing artist too. And let's face it, Taylor Swift has made a whole lot more money on stage, and we've talked about this, than she ever has with her records. She's done well with the records. Now, I don't take anything away from her on that either. However, she makes a lot more money on live performances. And so I think that's the joy of AI is that you will never be replaced as a human being, which is the fortunate part.
Yeah, touching on the live performances and stuff like that, right? As an artist, if you are going to perform somewhere, you project how much you're going to make. You just do that. You go there, merchandise and all those, just like back in the old days, merchandise and all these kind of stuff. You'll be able to make more money as opposed to you being second guessed as to whether you sang the song and stuff like that. So the future is, it's on artists who are able to perform, because not all artists are able to perform.
I agree.
You can go back to Mini Vilendi. Yes, if you give them the mic, if you give them the mic on stage, say there's a live band behind you, they'll falter. But in the studio, you are controlled. You are metronome, metronome. We use a lot of metronome. I quite remember. Let me give you this story. There was this man, a man at that time that he invited me to do the backups or do the, co-produce the show. His album with him. And I said, okay. I put everything together. We went to the studio, and we started, did all the instrumentation, did everything. And when it was his time to come and do the lead singing, my God, we had to put him in another room because he was off key. If you give him key Z, he was singing in key A. Whatever, he was not primed for that. That's what it was so bad to such an extent that I ended up doing the lead singing. And, we alternated. And then, at that time, technology was not as good as it is today. But we were able to sort of put him at par with me. I wasn't comfortable, but I made sure that my integrity and my professionalism was intact. But then it ended up. So I'm saying this to say that there are a lot of artists out there. Trust me. Even if they do the playback, just shut off the music and let them sing. Right? So the time is coming where artists are going to be judged by what they have produced. They are going to be judged by the fact that, okay, you sang this, now it's your turn to tell us that. Because you know what? At the end of the day, even if you go on stage and you do something, there might be so many apps trying to see whether it's you. Yeah. Right now, there are so many apps out there that do so many different things that we don't even know. So if you are a young artist out there trying to get into the business is changed. It is going to change. It has changed. It is going to change forever. So if you have any aptitude or appetite to learn a musical instrument, you can do something solo, can go solo, do acoustics, do so many things, and there's so many different facets of the industry that you can, look at and then get yourself into them. But you cannot dwell on what has persisted over the past couple of decades and say that, okay, that's going to be the future of the industry. No, if you are thinking about that, you are in the wrong profession. If you want to be a professional musician to make money, that is where you cannot do it. And there are so many apps out there that are co-producing music. I think we shared something with you the other time. They are co-producing. Just put your music out there and they to co-produce and they come out with something which is scary. It's not actually helping with talent. You're being assisted to do something that either you are not able to do it yourself. So it's the music industry is in a point where people have not sat down to think about the fact that, what, people can just use half of your voice and half of the voice of somebody else, and you not be able to determine as to who is actually singing by somebody else doing it. So it's a dangerous time for the industry. Ron?
I'll make one remark into what you said there about talent. I think to me, it's 95% hard work and 5% talent. And I think this is because those people that work the hardest are going to be the ones that are going to be most likely to succeed. And I say this because if you're ever learning a musical instrument of any sort, you'll know that it takes hours and hours. They say it takes about 10,000 hours to become a professional musician. Practice 10,000 hours of practice before you become a professional musician, and that's a lot of hours.
Oh,
and
yes.
if you're not willing to put those in on the guitar or piano or whatever instrument it is you choose to play, then I'm sorry to say it's going to be very difficult to be out there. A professional meaning not like a studio pro. That's a whole different story. Studio pros are people that can sight read just about anything. They can play to anybody's feel just about. Those are a total different group of people, way high up on the list. But just even to be on stage and making regular money, yeah, 10,000 hours of practice. I mean, for me, I'm in my 60s, and I've over the years I've easily put in that much and probably 3 times as much as that, because I also had the joy of going to university for music, where I was sometimes practicing 12 hours a day. So I think that if you're going to be a good musician, either you work, and your voice counts into all this, folks. Your voice can be something you concentrate on as well. But if you want to be a really good singer, I highly recommend you take vocal lessons from a pro, somebody that really knows how to sing, and not by going to YouTube. YouTube, half of what you see on YouTube is wrong. I read this in a really good book about mixing and mastering, and the fellow he nailed it on the head. He says only half of what you see on the internet is correct. So if you're using that as your source to become better as a musician, you're only going to be half right. That means you're going to be half wrong as well. So I think that if you want to be really good, you need to be seeing somebody who is a professional artist. And that doesn't always need to be somebody who has a big name. That doesn't mean you have to go to whoever your favorite singer is and have that person teach you how to sing. No, there are great, great teachers out there, studied professionals. And I think those are the people, if you want to learn, are the best place to go, not YouTube. YouTube can teach you some things, but I've seen many things on YouTube, and I kind of go, that's wrong. I'm not going to write anything in the comments and tell them it's completely wrong. But it's just, if anybody's looking at it, I think that's not a good source, or the internet in general is not a good source. So I think that you really need to see somebody who, if you want to be a professional, learn from a professional. I've had so many lessons from great, well-established bass players that are just top of the line guys, and that helped me out. However, if you don't take your lessons, folks, it's going to be hard to become really good at reading music, learning music theory. Those are all important things, and playing that instrument confidently. And in just about any situation, somebody says, hey, I want to do a Latin song tonight, and we're also going to put in some jazz, and we're going to put some funk in, and we're going to have some rock tonight too. And maybe we'll throw in an Afrobeat. We'll see what the song that the group's like, what the audience is like. We might throw this Afrobeat song in. And anybody who's a pro will say that, okay, good, just let me know what the songs are. I'll make sure I have them when we pop on stage. So I can't stress enough the amount of importance there is in learning an instrument, whether it's your voice or actually an instrument you hold in your hands.
Yeah. And you are listening and viewing it at Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Ron, I'm telling you, a lot of countries are hooked up on us. United Kingdom, you are in the house. United States, Russia, Singapore, Canada, Germany, China, Philippines, Iran, France, Poland, Romania, Brazil, Spain, yes, Belgium, Ghana, Mexico, Tunisia, Portugal, Italy, Trinidad and Tobago, Netherlands, Denmark, Algeria. There's a lot of listeners who with us right now as we speak. There's so many countries. I think they were coming to listen to REIINN, and we are trying to establish contact with her. But in the absence of that, as you know, Ron, we are not short of.
No.
There's so many countries right now hooked up to us and with us. So the conversation continues. We have Algeria, we have India, we have Colombia, we have Ireland, Switzerland, Oh my God, Taiwan, Panama, Indonesia, Peru, Morocco, Cuba, Ireland, all of them are tuned up. And you know what? I think we are doing something good, and they want us to be addressing the issues that we are addressing right now. They are not issues, but they are realities in terms of our industry. So, you know what? We appreciate your indulgence right now. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we come here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This lovely Afrobeat music talk radio is Highway 6 to Africa. Ron Molinga, TyB, Petraa, who will be with us next week with a new artist. Yes, next week is going to be hot as well. So if you're a producer, if you're a publisher, if you're an artist talent manager, hey, you can reach us. We don't charge you to have you come talk with us. Hey, it's all in the interest of our industry. I'm an artist. Yes, Ron is an artist. Petraa is an artist. So we come here to give this platform out there for you to come in. We discuss issues pertaining and, affecting our industry. Sometimes we go the positive way, but there are the negativities that sometimes we don't address, but they are there. But as we are discussing right now, before we wrap up, in the next, in about 20 minutes, I would say we have lots of topics to cover. So you may reach us at 437-778-3299, 437-778-3299. If you are watching us, say, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, hey, you can also catch us on Love Day Radio. Just go lovedayradio.com. You can hear us online on the radio. So, Ron.
Yeah, it's too bad Petraa's not with us. It's too bad REIINN isn't able to make it with us so far. That's unfortunate, of course, but one thing happens or one thing leads to another. You never know the reasons why. So hope that REIINN is doing okay. And I know that Petraa will be with us next week, so that'll be great. I think with all of what we're saying, it would be interesting to hear what people have to see. Sometimes it's funny. I have a Facebook page that I started, and I have to laugh at something. I put on a song. I give out free sheet music. I give it out free for bass players. And I give it out free because then people can't charge me or say, how can you do this? And how come you're making so much money off this? And I just cannot charge people for other people's songs. What I do is I write out music. And for instance, I wrote out the sheet music to a song by Barbra Streisand and Barry Gibb called Guilty. It's a really nice song. It's a pretty song. It's a great bass tune to it. A guy named David Hungate is the bass player, studio pro. He also played with Toto. So I share that. I gave out what's called notation and the tab. Tab means if you can't read music, you can read these letters on lines that show you where the notes are to be played. So I write all those out and I give them to give them out for free. And the reason I do this is so that, I'm not taking money away from I mentioned Guilty. I'm not making any money on that. And so to me, that's important because it's Barbara and Barry and whoever produced and the musicians in that group who performed in the studio that deserve the money. And I've explained this to the group and they're just all thumbs up about this. But I also shared a song. Oh man, I just couldn't believe it. I was sitting watching a hockey game here in Canada. If you don't know Canada, you know that hockey is a big season and right now, that a big sport, and that there are 3 Canadian hockey teams in the playoffs right now. So I was listening to watching a hockey game. This song came on that they were playing at one of the hockey games, and I just said, "I've got that. I should go and release that one." Oh my goodness. It's a song by AC/DC. Anybody knows AC/DC? It's a song called Thunderstruck. And it's really well known because not only is the vocals are cool, but the guitar is just that Angus Young plays on it. It just has this ripping guitar part on it. I'll say ripping. This is a really cool guitar part. But the bass part in it is like pathetically simple. It's like there's just one note that gets played so redundantly over and over. And I tell you, I haven't had so many people comment on one song that was so simple, I've never seen so many people respond. Some people say, "Oh, this is a joke. It's so easy," and others will say, "No, no, 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 no. It's a learning experience." You know, the guy, Cliff, what's his name? Cliff. Anyways, the bass player. He said he makes it sound so good. It's not as tough. It's tougher than you think. And people were just. I know one guy just his. I'm glad it wasn't my group that I run that this guy was speaking in, because he just went, I'll just say, off the wall, and told everybody to F off. And because they don't know what they're talking about. This guy is so good at playing bass. And it was just a big havoc that ran. I've had so many reactions on one song that was so simple. And then I put out something like yesterday, a really difficult, I'd say a fairly difficult song. Anybody knows Jamiroquai? Knows they're a heavy fusion jazz group. I put a song by them, and people were liking it all over the place, but it didn't get any of the reaction that this very simplistic song did, Thunderstruck, where it's just a B that gets played over and over. And I said to people, look beyond the first page. Pages 2 and 3 plays a lot more than just one note all over the place. Yeah, but come on, it's a simple song. I thought, okay, yeah, sure it is. But it was just something I learned about doing this. Put on simple, and people will really have a reaction to what you are doing. And I thought, okay, that's just interesting. I think there was about 100 people that responded to this one song, like just one group. And I thought, oh my goodness, woo, you guys are getting feisty. So, and some people were loving it, of course, and some people were just downing it, 2 thumbs downing it. It was just hilarious. I just thought, okay, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. It's a pretty easy song. I just want to put it out there. If you want to learn to play it, learn to play it. But whatever works for you. So that was my funny for the week.
Yeah. And Ron, I see you've been posting some musical how do manuscripts on
sheet music. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the intent and purpose of it?
Good question. My purpose for it, I've done a lot of bass transcriptions. They're called transcriptions, which means that they're note for note what the actual bass player is playing in a song. And so, like in the AC/DC song I mentioned, it's just one note over and over, but it gets a little more busy as the song goes on. My purpose behind it is to give people material to learn so they can improve their skills as a player. And also, hopefully, from that, not only do they learn the song, but they also start to learn to read music. And reading music to me is just, it helps you so much. I have sheets and sheets sitting right beside me of songs I need to still work on. But I look at it and go, it's so good when you can read something and be able to play right through it and go, now that's exactly what the bass player played. And I like this because you also learn from what that player did to make the song work. There's some songs that are so simple, but you just kind of go, if that guy overplayed that or played too much in that, it just wouldn't sound the same. It would be bad. And there's other ones, like I was telling you, Jamiroquai, if he played it all one note, it would be boring. But the guy that was doing this, Randy Hope Taylor is his name, the bass player at the time for Jamiroquai, he is all over the fretboard and he's playing everywhere. So I hope that people, what they're not only getting is the notes that are played, but also the feel. How did the bass player get the feel of this song? Which, to me, in the bass department, is one of the parts of modern music today that I see lacking a lot of the times. However, I will say, one of the charts I did put on there was by a guy named Teddy Swims, and the song's called The Door. And it was Tracy Gray who shared it with me. And I said, oh, this is a good song. It's so simple, the bass part, really simple. It's only 4 chords over and over and over. But the guy hits the notes right on the spot. And I just think, that's a good thing. It's like Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. I tell you, I played that song. I know it note for note just because any bass player is a bass player knows how to play that song. It's pretty simple. However, you'll hear a drummer go boom, cha, in a live performance to start it. But as soon as the bass player comes in with does the bass line to it, the crowd just hits the floor. They don't even have to hear the keyboard part going do. They don't have to hear that. they can just they hear that rock and bass part that Michael Jackson did, that they had do it, and it just the piece just it just goes, and that's, to me, those are songs like that have a feel to them that is so good that I look at him going, that's how Michael Jackson made that work. He's got a fabulous voice. He had a fabulous voice. He sings so well. He's so good at what he did. However, it's the musicians he hired to make songs work. And the guys like, as I mentioned before, Soft Shoe Moffett, who's the drummer, he just plays with so much feel with that song. And so it's just, I like people to learn exactly what others are playing, because then you learn, you will eventually develop your own style. You never want to sound like everybody else, but you get to learn. And being a teacher, I like to teach. I guess I don't know if that's ever going to come out of me, but it's a really good experience. The Facebook group is called Bass Transcribers. It's anybody can put on charts on it. We give them away for free, and you can just go on and learn them note for note, exactly what's played in the songs. So. So it's
yeah, right, yeah. Sorry, so I'll go finish it up.
No, it's just and it's sheet music. It's learning to read music. Learning to read music has helped me so much, because it helps you to get the feel of how other people played it, or at least listen to the song and go, that's so cool. What is he doing? And then you can look at the sheet music and go, that's what he did. So, or she did. Carol Kay was one of those great bass players who played on so many albums. I think I've heard over thousands of albums. And Carol Kay, it's not just men, guys. Carol Kay was an unbelievable bass player who was in the studio lots. So, anyways.
It's the way of the future. I will encourage upcoming artists to learn how to play, music, and then to be able to self-produce or something. They have to collab and bump ideas. But summer is coming. We are almost in summer, and the festivals are abound. And wherever you may have to go out there and check some of them out. In Canada, we have the Montreal Jazz Festival. Oh, Ron, I was privileged to perform at the Montreal Jazz Festival some years ago.
Oh, weren't you lucky?
It was a blast. It was a blast. It was a blast. I quite remember where I was performing was Fela Kuti. Yeah, some years ago, he was over there, and after he finished his stuff, he walked back there and came and said hello. It was one of the moments that I will cherish forever. And then in Canada, we have the Vancouver Celebration of Light every July, and in Toronto, we have the Toronto Caribbean Carnival. That is 31st of July to the 4th of August. And Edmonton International French Theatre Festival, that's the 14th to the 24th of August. And we have the Celtic Colors Music Festival in Nova Scotia. That is from 10th to the 18th of October. And Jasper Dark Sky Festival, that is 17th October to the 2nd of November. There are a lot of Banff Center Mountain. I've performed at Banff. Actually, I have performed at so many festivals, and the festivals performance. Festivals are a rich thing that every artist would have to go through. Festival of the Rocks in Yellowknife and Whitehorse and all over. I have performed in so many places, and it enriches you. It gives you the privilege to meet different artists from different continents, and it is so refreshing. Winnipeg is, I think, one of the largest in Canada. Winnipeg is one of, oh my God, it's a township. It is a complete township. It's about maybe 45 minutes to 1 hour drive from Winnipeg, and I enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed working in any of the festivals?
Well, I played in numerous festivals. They're really where I'd say backstage. I'd like to say the green room, but lots of them are outside, so there's not always a green room, but sometimes there is. It's where you get to meet all the musicians and talk to them. I mean, the Montreal Jazz Festival, that one, I mean, if you've played in that one, that is known as being one of the best jazz festivals in the world. I know that groups like Jamiroquai, who I've talked about already a few times, they played at that, but then Jamiroquai can go and play at a rock place too. So they're mixed. They're what I call rock jazz fusion group. And if you get to play at the Montreal Jazz Festival, to me, that you are a good jazz musician because you're.
Man, yeah. it was a dream come true. And once we didn't even know, they said, "Oh man, you're going to play the jazz festival." They didn't say Montreal Jazz Festival. So we were on a tour, and then we just said, "Okay, let's go." We go in there, and boom, and we went to Montreal Jazz Festival. What the heck are we doing here? It was a blast. It was one of the crowning moments of my musical career, and I will never, ever, ever forget it. How we got in there, how you see, this is what it is. When you're doing stuff, you may not know who is looking at you, who is watching you. Mm-hmm. So whatever you do, you have to do it right. Don't look over your shoulders because somebody is actually watching you. You may think, let me do it. And I've performed in so many different festivals. I had the chance to go to Guyana, South America, did a tour. And it's been a crowning moment. That's why, see, this platform and this program, when we come here, we share what we need, what we have gone through, our experiences and stuff like that. It's not about just coming here to just blah, 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 get an artist here and then we have a conversation, but we learn from artists and they also learn from us. So it's a give and take kind of a situation that we are in. And we are also... every Saturday around 4 o'clock, we are so happy to join with you. And among myself, Ron, and Petraa, it's like we want Saturday 4 p.m. to come around, and so that we'll be able to have a conversation with or without an artist or a special guest. So I think, and I hope you've enjoyed this day's program with us, and we hope to be with you next week. Next week is going to be the artist is going to be from Antigua, Vicious. And I quite remember I was co-hosting a program over a month ago, and I said, okay, soca or calypso music. I don't hear about calypso music on the international stage right now because there have been some, legends, Sparrow, Kitchener, and all these guys have been there. So what is going on? And I said we should not. I came out with hashtag soca or calypso shouldn't die. And within a breath, the following 2 days, I got a track saying that soca shouldn't die or calypso shouldn't die. Beautiful track. And, this young man is doing his best because we have to try as much as possible to promote and, get people here. If you're an artist, if the music is clean and you have what it takes to be talking with us, hey, we are here for you because we are artists and we know how it is to break through. And we are glad to say that some artists have come through here who were hitherto not known, and they have broken through and they are doing great. And we thank them for coming here because they enriched us with their experiences. And we are happy that we also did. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about all of us. Ron, wrap it up and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I agree with you. How can I disagree with anything what you said? It would be nice to have REIINN come back sometime, and maybe we can rebook her. That would be wonderful. I have a special hello to hospital patient shut-ins. Anybody who can make it out of their house today, special hello to you. And we look forward to having Petraa with us next week and the guests next week. That will be great. So everybody, in the meantime, you take care. Hope you have the next week and your Mother's Day tomorrow. If you're a mother, I hope that your family comes to celebrate with you and express their love for you because you certainly deserve it, mothers. And so all the best, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.